Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for our parent talk. We will be talking about how to be safe online and balance technology use in a world of virtual learning. If you would be so kind and put your name in the chat, introduce yourself, and let us know where you're coming from. We always love to hear where our parents are joining us from. I have with me today, I'm Vicki Saylor. I'm the Arizona Education Program Manager for Common Sense Education here based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And I have with me here tonight my colleague, Jennifer. Jennifer, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here. We're really excited to be able to share a lot of great resources to help make parenting in a digital age a little easier. So thanks, Vicki.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. I asked Jennifer to be here with us tonight because she is also a parent, and I thought it would be really great to have both of our perspectives tonight. And as we talk about the different models and different tips and strategies that we can use in our distance learning efforts with our kids. And as we all know, this isn't new anymore. We've been doing this for a few months now, and there are a few different ways students are having to participate in school right now. And one is completely virtual, right? So complete distance learning. And then some schools have adopted a hybrid model and they're already there. And then some are even in person full time. Here in Arizona, we do have a few districts that are already 100% in person. So all of the tips and strategies that we have here tonight for you can be used with each of these different models. And then as we were talking about earlier, they can even be used once everybody goes back to school, because these same strategies and tips can be used for when we're trying to help our kids stay organized, stay safe, stay balanced when they're at home doing homework and in all of their media use. So I'm going to have Jennifer begin. As we were saying, nobody could ever guess that it would look like this, but we are here to help you. And after tonight, you will be able to have all of our resources. We have a list of resources for you. And then we also have Barbara here, and she is another one of our colleagues. She's based in DC, and she is going to be helping us in the chat. So she'll be giving you all of the resources as well. So tonight we will be talking about those strategies for online learning, as well as strategies for how to have balance. And so we'll begin by talking about where we should all start, right? I mean, it seems pretty basic and easy, but then sometimes we forget, right? I have my kid working on his bed, and then I remember, you know, maybe this isn't the best way. So let's make sure that we start off by having a space. And Jennifer, I would love to hear some things that you're doing for your kids, because I mean, as a teacher, I've seen your setup, and although we can't all look like you, right? We wish we could. Just having a designated space and the importance of having that. So can you give us some advice and maybe some ideas on how to set that up?
Absolutely. So I have a 5-year-old. So we started kindergarten this year. But believe it or not, in March, she was in a pre-K program, and we were still doing some online activities. And like everybody, we scurried. We were just happy to find a device that was charged and working to be able to connect our educator or our teacher. So I knew over the summer I had to make a plan, right? And going back to school, I really wanted to be organized. And so I do think it's important to pick a place, you know, have your kids help you with it, right? Like, think about what makes them comfortable. Definitely, you know, a desk of some sort, a tabletop, a corner. It does not have to be fancy. It just has to be consistent. I think consistency is the key. So they understand, you know, get up. This is where we learn. This is where we play. This is where we eat. If it's doable, it's not doable everywhere, but just trying to separate some of the different things so they can focus on what they're supposed to be doing in those moments, in those places.
Yeah,
So.
and I think that really helps too, especially if you have other kids in your house and maybe even younger siblings, and having that discussion and having that set place so that, you know, you establish the area so that, you know, you can have that discussion like, okay, this is the school area, and this is how we treat the school area, and this is when we can come into the school area, and this is when we cannot come into the school area. So being creative, maybe if you do have little ones, making little signs, you know, like do not disturb, or, you know, green light, red light, you know, you can talk to your sister or brother right now. No, now you can't. all those different ideas. And if you don't have a specific piece of furniture designated, get creative, right? I'm in the process of moving, and for a little while I had a box. I had to make a table out of a box. You know, I put a box up and I had a tablecloth on there and it worked, but it gave me my designated area. So get creative, but more importantly, establish that space. That's so important.
Yes. And another thing that goes along with that in terms of creating a space is routine. I don't think it matters if you're kindergarten or 12th grade. We all as humans thrive on routine. And so some routines are probably a little more involved than others, but we all like to start healthy habits soon. And so setting up routines is important. And this is something that we probably never had to really think about, because we sort of had that routine instilled in us with what time we have to be to work, what time we have to be to school. So now it's all on us. And so we have, Common Sense has some really great templates. Let me just go ahead and go back. I want to pull one up for us to see. I know it's a little easier to see, but it's a really nice Google Doc template where you can just go up to the file button, make a copy, and I'm able to fill in some of these different activities that we do. And I know for like hybrid learning, remote learning, and some, in-person learning, for me, a lot of these different days of the week are different, so for consistency purposes, it's really nice to kind of plan your week or even plan day to day. I am day to day, I'm going to be honest. I wish I were week to week, but day to day, it's just nice to understand, okay, what's expected of us from our teacher, right? In different subject areas, content areas. If you're in middle school or high school, obviously the different periods throughout the day, so to speak. And so it's just nice to jot down what has to get done. If we have time, I kind of use that second box for if we have time, we would love to get to this. And then other things like what to talk about, because our teacher sends out a lot of our objectives and like activities the day before or the week before. So that's helpful too. So then I have an understanding of what I need to be talking to my child or children about, especially if you're parenting in multiple grades.
Definitely.
Third grader, a fifth grader, eighth grader. I mean, that can get logistics can get a little busy. And so if you have a different routine where you can kind of keep in order, and even the older kids, I think they can start to write down and help with these templates, right? Kind of fill out their responsibilities for the day or the week. And I think it's just one way. I'll be honest, we've done this a few times. You're not going to get it right the first time, and that's okay.
I think absolutely.
Persevering.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, a lot of times, or a lot of us have never really had to lay it out like this because we've kind of been on autopilot, get up, have breakfast, get our lunch, out the door, kids to school, they do their thing. I'm going to go to work, I do my thing, or I'm going to stay home and do my thing, right? But now we're having to manage kids, something that a lot of us have not had to do in that sense, right? As their formal teacher, because we've all been their teachers from day one. But in terms of providing that structure for them and that routine, having these types of resources just takes one more thing off of our plate. We don't have to think about it. And if we don't have a printer, then, they're easily, copied. Like I can just copy it down on a piece of paper, or I can make my own on my phone even. I can use my phone if I want to create something, but it gives me an idea, because right now I really can't think of one more thing to do, and I don't even have any ideas in my head. So like I can copy things really well.
Yeah,
so if I see this, I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. How come I didn't think of that? So yeah, even if I don't have a printer, which I don't right now, I mean, printing's expensive too, those printing, I don't even know, do they use cartridges? I don't even have a printer anymore. It's expensive. So just having an idea ready to go is so helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the other thing we wanted to talk about to kind of help, speaking of organization and keeping everything organized and where you need it, we also have a couple of resources that I wanted to share that I've been using. This first one's called a cheat sheet, and I've been using this since day one. I was fortunate enough to know about it sooner than later, but from day one, no matter what grade level your child is in or children, there are lots of platforms we have to log into, like Google Classroom and Schoology and Artsonia and Seesaw, and I could go on and on and on. And so, you know, if you have different children in different grade levels with different teachers, all of these platforms and portals are really awesome for learning. But oh my goodness, passwords galore.
Yeah.
And so this was really nice, you know, from passwords to like, where do I get help if my tech's not working, to, I know we have a lot of ways to submit work, you know, whether you're
Like
submitting,
where?
everything's like
where's
where?
everything? Where are the assignments? You know, my kid's saying there's nothing today. Well, where can I make sure? Especially those middle schoolers and high schoolers, you know, oh, I don't have any homework today. So yeah, and then we do have it in Spanish too, which is really nice.
Yes, very nice. I'm sorry, let me go back to present mode to make it a little bigger for you all.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to we talked about family and media agreements. We talk about these all the time, and it really ties back to your expectations and balance, right? Media balance. I mean, did that go out the door or what when all of this?
And that's okay, right? That's okay. Like parents should not feel guilty about having increased media time, right? Because
absolutely not.
It's a different time right now. So we need to give ourselves a break, but we should definitely have something like this in place, especially now, because if not, it can get out of control.
Right. And so this is obviously another template that's really great. I know it's obviously, maybe we have it for K-12 students. And I noticed when I went into this, it's very text heavy for a kindergarten or a first grader to kind of sit down and understand. So we made our own, you know, we went in, let me go to the next slide and kind of show you where we got the idea. So this came from the Brooklyn Public Library. Is that correct?
Yep,
yes, Brooklyn Public Library. And so this is a really great way to think about it from a more of a younger age. Both work, obviously, because you're talking about expectations. You're talking about privacy and security. You're talking about, you know, anything and everything that goes along with screen time of day, you know, how much socializing and social platforms your middle schoolers and high schoolers, you know, what did you come up with in terms of a family expectation? So this is really neat. We made our very own. And so we can color it and add to it and just personalize it. And I will be completely honest, we've made 3 now. We do live and learn, but
because it can change too, right? What worked this week might not work next week. And I think having them make it with you is so great. I mean, it's better. It's like better buy-in, right? If they have something to do with it.
Absolutely. And they color it, you know, and then, yeah. So you know your kiddos best, and so you do what works for you. But you know, this document, I'm just going to go back real quick, and this document really give you just some talking points and conversation starters to think about what does your family media agreement look like. And you know, we also included the Spanish version as well, which is really helpful for Spanish speaking families.
And this can be even if you're not, you know, even if you're not at home with your kids. Let's say you have a caregiver, or you're, you know, they're staying with their grandparents during the day, or an aunt or uncle. You can bring the whole family into this. Like, this is what it's going to look like for our entire family, because it's, you know, it's the whole family, right? It takes a group effort to keep everybody safe and healthy. We might not just be visiting our own homes right now. We might have our little cluster of family maybe that we're trying to visit, and still have that balance where we're not just all alone, because that isolation is terrible. But you want to get other members of your family, or maybe your close neighbors, involved too. So it's a great conversation piece too, to say, you know, have you thought about you know, media balance in your house? And this is something we use. And going back to the younger kids, having just a very simple framework, right? Maybe 3 things we're going to work on. And like you said, last week, this is what we worked on, or even monthly. This month, we're going to get this down. Next month, these are the skills we're going to work on when it comes to digital balance. And then also that goes for us too as parents, right? Being good role models. So we all sign it.
Yes, everybody should sign it. I agree. And then we should talk about this too. I think this is important. Again, this is all K-12, so hang with us. This is, you know, this is for anyone who has anyone under the umbrella in their house doing these things.
Absolutely.
Routines and setting up a safe space. Once you get all of that in order and everything's underway, I mean, give yourself a round of applause. This is great. But then we also know day after day, morning, noon, and night, some of these hours can start to build up with screen time. And we all want to be mindful around, screen time limits versus ages versus obviously time with teacher and assignments. But movement breaks are so crucial, right, Vicki? Like,
Right. Absolutely. Even for adults. I need these.
yes, I want all of them. Give me all
I
of
want to
them.
do some yoga. I saw some yoga on here. And this is from our Wide Open School site, and we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, this is all really important. I think I mentioned it earlier also. Even those, some people think of them as brain breaks, and maybe some of your teachers have used this expression with you, with your students, with your children at home. So kids might recognize that term. Let's have a brain break. It's so important to rest that mind and to try to find that balance. I was talking about just your eyes, just closing your eyes and think of a 20-20-20 rule. So look at something that's at least 20 feet away from you for at least 20 seconds every 20 minutes, because we want to make sure that physically we're staying healthy. This Zoom fatigue is real, right? Eye strain is real. There could be headaches that come with that. So we really want to make sure that we make time for those movement breaks or those brain breaks.
Yes, and as you mentioned, Wide Open School has a ton of really fun activities, easy to just grab, last minute if you have to. Really cool, from, just movement to like simple yoga, to dancing, to singing a song, to meditating. I mean, there's all kinds of fun ones that we've found over the course of the couple of weeks that we almost started to bookmark our favorites, which is fun too. So,
and some of these are online brain breaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're digital, but then we do have a lot of offline activities for ideas that don't require any type of device, which is so important.
Oh, and one of our favorites, right? Planking.
Yes, there's a planker right there.
Yes, I know our team does it a lot. I know we're always, planking's an easy one and it's challenging. So that's one of our favorites.
Work up to goals too. So goal settings all in there.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for all of those tips and letting us know where we can find them. And this is a really great segue into having the healthy balance, talking about those brain breaks and those physical movement breaks. We want to make sure that we keep balance at the forefront of our mind during this time, because we are spending so much more time and an increased amount of time online. We want to make sure that we are intentional about the balance that we're seeking when it comes to digital media. So let's talk about some strategies for having that healthy balance when it comes to screen time. And as you mentioned, it's not so much about the screen time, because right now we are going to see an increase in that, and that's okay. Parents should not beat themselves up for it, right? And if you need to use it as a babysitter, that's okay. Some of us are working from home, whatever works, but it's about how they're using it. So it's okay to use screen time for that, right? Just to consume it and just to view something and maybe watch a movie or a show. But we want to also encourage our kids and our families, us included, to be creative with our screen time, to maybe find ways to engage differently, right? Be creative, learn something new. And then there's also the importance of co-viewing with your kids, not just maybe sitting them down in front of the TV, but if you have a time maybe to take a break during your day, sit down with them and talk about what they're watching. You can help develop language for little kids. If you're teaching them a different language, you could do that. You could say, how do you say yellow in Spanish? And the little girl's wearing, what color is that little girl's dress? It's yellow. Do you know how to say it in Spanish? It's amarillo. So if you are bilingual, or if you can look it up on Google. If you want to teach your kid a different language, there's ways to pull kids in. If you have older kids, one thing that I really appreciate and love to do is playing video games with my son. He's almost 19, and we have grown up playing video games together. And I'm not striving to be the cool mom. Okay, well, maybe sometimes I am, but I don't think I'm ever going to be the cool mom. But it's just a way to bond and, show him that he is also my teacher. So that really empowers him and makes him feel valued as a member of our family, with him being able to teach me something. He's also very musical, so he'll show me YouTube videos and how he's taught himself how to play piano or guitar with YouTube videos. So using technology to also learn new things and share that learning with someone else in your family is so important too. So those are some things to keep in mind. And then I think we can go on to the next screen. We do have our Common Sense website. So if you visit us at commonsense.org, you will be able to find really high quality digital media resources. So whether you're looking for ratings and reviews on books, apps, movies, shows, video games, you name it, you can find lists as well. One of the things that we love to find on there are these best of lists. So you know that you're getting really good quality recommendations when you look at those lists. And you can also filter by grade level, which is really nice. It's all laid out for you. And yeah, just a really great resource for you to go to when you are looking for really high quality media choices. And then do you have anything to add, Jennifer?
Just to reiterate a little bit around the quality versus quantity, because you know this guilt is hovering over a lot of parents. And when you go here, and obviously 3 or 4 episodes of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood makes me feel a little better than 3 or 4 episodes of something that's maybe not age appropriate or passive, right? Or you're coming offline and they don't really know what to say, or their moods change, right? And so you kind of have to be mindful of that. So definitely check out our reviews and think about not only consumption but creating. You mentioned the creating of music and things, so really cool. We've been creating recipe books, we've been creating family books, co-creating, co-viewing. It's all healthy when done in the right way.
Right. And then if you can't be there the whole time and they are viewing something, just keep in mind that even in the background, you can still keep an ear out for maybe things that you need to address. And that would be a good time for you to come over and check how they're feeling, because we want to make sure that we are taking time to check in with their social emotional learning as well. If they're being exposed to things, I know the news is really crazy right now. So if they are exposed to anything in the background, making sure to have those conversations with them as well and being intentional about having those conversations. One other thing that we have is our digital citizenship curriculum. And that is digital citizenship. When we're talking about how to be a good digital citizen, it is how to use technology in a safe, responsible manner, how to engage online, everything that you are doing online to be a good citizen. So how you treat yourself, how you treat others, how you portray yourself. We want to make sure that we are not letting that go away. A lot of schools use our digital citizenship curriculum. We're used in over half of the schools in the country. So right now that might be taking a little bit of a back seat because of the time constraints on our teachers and everything that they're dealing with. But that doesn't mean that as parents, we can't dip into these resources. And we have something called our family activities that go along with our lessons, but they can be used in isolation. And they're just ideas on some activities that you can do with your families at home. And we do have these available in English and Spanish. And Barbara has that link for you, so you'll know exactly where to find it. If you lose the link for whatever reason, you can find those links under our digital citizenship lessons on our commonsense.org website under education. You would just go into our lessons, our digital citizenship lessons, and then scroll down to the bottom where you see family activities. And then along with that, we also have our family tip sheets, which are another really great resource because they come in 10 languages and they're really just bite-sized pieces of advice. They either like 4 to 5 pieces of advice surrounding a topic. So anything from media balance to, let's say, cyberbullying. So it just depends on the lesson that you want to, the topic you want to talk about. But I highly encourage you to use those. And when we're talking about making those routines, this might be one part of that routine. You know, every week we are going to teach them at least one digital citizenship lesson. And I might not be a classroom teacher and I don't have time, or maybe I don't feel comfortable teaching an entire lesson, but I can use these family activities and these family tip sheets to still teach digital citizenship in my family. So really great
I know
resource.
one way I find way to incorporate these into my family is I call them like table talk. We all need something to talk about at dinner or breakfast, or, you know, we go for a walk to get fresh air, you know, quite often each day. And, you know, you can only talk about the leaves and the birds for so long,
It's so
right?
true. Yes.
So, you know, it's just, if you have a couple of tips in your back pocket before the conversation, and you sit down and just, because you know what I love to hear is their perspective as well. As families and caretakers and parents, we go in with it like, this is what we have to do and this is how it should be. And, you know, obviously modeling is one aspect, but just listening to their perspective and their thoughts and feelings on how they feel about the certain things that go on is, you can learn so much from them as well. So it's, I think it builds a healthy conversation. So as much as we call them family tip sheets,
I love that. Conversations. I love it. Conversation starters. I love that.
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah.
getting in front of it, right? A lot of people think, well, I don't need to talk about that because my child hasn't dealt with cyberbullying, or my child hasn't dealt, you know, he's not on social media. So, you know, getting in front of it and like role playing or giving them a scenario, right? Like what would happen if this, you know, what do you think about this? Those are all ways to really get to know your kids. And it takes the pressure off them, because you're not asking them like, you know, or you're not kind of prying into there. You're just saying, what if, like, or have you ever heard of? And so these are really great conversation starters. I love it.
So much better than how was your day?
Yeah. You know,
we all know you don't get anything out of that one.
No. And try texting a freshman in college. I was just complaining about this. I get the one word answers, and I know better than to go, how was your day? I mean, I was a teacher for so long, and I'm thinking, I ask him, how was your day? And then I shame myself because I need something better. I need something better.
These are great. This is a great start.
Yeah.
And so
tell us about Wide Open School, because you were talking about the brain breaks and the movement breaks and that we could find them here. Can you show our audience a little?
Because I know we're getting low on time. So I really want to, you know, we talked about all this stuff, but I think this one's important to really show. So I went to wideopenschool.org. When you go to wideopenschool.org, there is a, you know, tab that says student activities. And when you go down, there's different tiles with subject areas. So you can see from ELA to math to social emotional learning. There's all kinds of great activities that are free, online and offline resources. But for right now, I want to take us to the Get Moving tile, because I think this one is where we talk about those brain breaks and how easy it is to pull them off of here and just, you know, oh gosh, the DIY putt-putt. We've done that one a couple of times too. They love it. And so, yeah, just easy ways to, you can see how quick it is to read one and be like, we can do this. And so, yeah. And then I'm also, if you noticed, I'm going to go back up to the top sort of slowly. I hit the grade 3 through 5 grade, you know, grade band. But if you have older kids, you can go to 9-12. Some of the yoga stays the same, but then there are some other, you know, obviously planking, high fives. Yeah. I'd like to see me do that, but you can see some more challenging things for movement. And like I said, this is just one area, right, Vicki? I mean, this is just our brain break kind of movement stuff, but we spend a lot of time in the DIY one.
Yeah. And there's so much, I mean, there's learning activities, right? But we do need a break from those sometimes. And, you know, I know these are pre-K 12 resources, but I've got a freshman in college who's stuck in his dorm room. And so I've been encouraging him to visit this site, and he's actually gone on some virtual field trips and has been really excited about it because he can't go in person, and it just, you know, breaks things up, right? And so we have so many wonderful resources on Wide Open School, so check that out too. And then we do have them in Spanish as well. So whether you need them in Spanish or maybe you want to encourage your child to learn Spanish, there are also resources in Spanish as well. So really, really fun. And then before we finish, I do want to encourage you to sign up for Tech Balance. This has been very helpful for families just to keep balance at the forefront of our mind right now with so much going on. It's easy to get sucked into technology because we really don't have a lot to do other than stay home, and that's our go-to, right? Especially kids nowadays. So if you'd like to sign up, check with your carrier, but it's free messaging as long as you have unlimited texting. And then to sign up in English, you would just text the word kids to 21555, or if you need it in Espanol, you would sign up con la palabra familia to 21555. And then you will receive 2 to 3 text messages a week. And because of the current situation with COVID-19, we have included some really relevant resources as well to help you there. Jennifer, do you want to talk a little bit about that? There's some, on the next slide. Yeah, talk about some of the things that they send them.
So it really focuses on what we all think about every day, media balance, right? So it gives us media balance tips to think about. That gives us how to choose good quality, content for our kids. And so those are great to come through. And I really think age appropriateness, content that's age appropriate. Sometimes, when you're on the fence or you struggle between maturity levels and learning, learning abilities and things like that. But what I love about this is it just comes to your phone. I think I mentioned earlier, if it's not like stamped on my forehead or a post-it on my,
I need a reminder too. I need reminders,
So I think it's just really good, easy, catch all info that you can just look at, read, kind of tuck away and use when you need to. So someone's doing the great work for us. I love it.
They are. I love it. And it's just a, gentle reminder, here's some tips and strategies. If you need them, great. If you don't, great. But they're to your phone. It's coming straight to us. You don't have to go, to the website. It's coming straight to your phone. And even something as easy as, have you put your phones down? Have you had a device-free dinner tonight with your family? And you can use those conversation starters from our family activity sheets when you're having that device-free dinner.
Yeah, we're making this sound so easy, aren't we?
No, it's not easy, but you know what? We're so happy we can be here to help you. Thank you again for being here. And Barbara will be sharing the resources that we shared. And you can always come to our website, or you can contact me directly. I'm happy to send you information as well, vsailor@commonsense.org.